What would you say are the keys to your success that somebody might want to know?
I think for us, one of the biggest things was our specificity.
Yeah, we've normalized being different and operating differently, and people come in because they've done the same, maybe in different physical places and just not gotten where they want to be. Even if you know that you're niche, either look at your business again or have someone else look at your business again and see if there's anything that you can do to get even more specific. One of the errors we made when we had first opened was trying to, without realizing it, run two different businesses at the same time. It's exhausting, right? So don't spread yourself thin by accident either, right? Make sure that everything you're doing is very purposeful and evaluate and get very specific.
Welcome to the Extra Mile. I'm here with Justin and Nelin Krull. They are co-owners of Myofascial Release Mississauga, and Justin is also a two-time Amazon best-selling author. Both Nelin and Justin are registered physiotherapists, and they got into business together in January of 2020 after years of working with other people. They wanted Myofascial Release Mississauga to create an impact that they really wanted to see in the world of physiotherapy and chronic pain relief. Justin and Nelin, welcome to the Extra Mile, and thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Could you tell me, what are two or three things that you feel have made you successful in your business? In other words, what would you say are the keys to your success that somebody following in your footsteps might want to know?
For us, one of the biggest things, and particularly one of the things that helped us sort of survive the pandemic as a new business, was our specificity. We are very niche in our market in the sense that we treat and want to treat people who have issues that include fibromyalgia or myofascial pain syndrome, any kind of chronic pain condition. They are the kind of clients who tend to be underserved in the world of healthcare. And so I think that because we're not just another clinic offering, general healthcare services, but we are very specific to that market. And then the other bit I would say is, because we are niche in that way, it allows us to operate differently than some of our competitors do. We have longer appointments. We don't use any machines or assistants, and our clinic space is very cozy and it has lots of natural elements. It doesn't look very clinical. And people really appreciate that with respect to a healing environment.
Yeah, we've normalized being different and operating differently, and people come in because they've done the same, maybe in different physical places and just not gotten where they want to be. Building on what Nelin said first as well, what I would add is, even if you know that you're niche, either look at your business again or have someone else look at your business again and see if there's anything that you can do to get even more specific. One of the errors we made when we had first opened was trying to, without realizing it, run two different businesses at the same time, because we had the space that we'd purposely paid to renovate to make available for small group classes. And what we realized is we're trying to run this business of filling yoga classes and Pilates and these other things while also running our primary business of patient care. And it's exhausting, right? So don't spread yourself thin by accident either, right? Make sure that everything you're doing is very purposeful and evaluate what it is you are truly selling and get very specific.
That sounds like you've taken a really disciplined and focused approach. Did you always have that intention? Was that the vision from the beginning of your practice?
Absolutely. I mean, it started as Justin, as a solo practitioner, just doing myofascial release with his clientele. And essentially what we had envisioned was the same thing, just on a larger scale, more therapists doing the same thing. And it's evolved from there, but we are very specific, even with the people that we hire, to let them know that this is what we do. And if it's not something you're interested in doing, then it might not be the right fit.
Yeah, there's a great quote that is one of these, ancient proverbs. I think it's attributed to Confucius, that he who chases two rabbits catches neither.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we just built that in the beginning.
Build one business.
Definitely.
Over the past year, you're a business owner. I'm sure you've navigated a lot of challenges that life has thrown your way. What would you say has been the biggest challenge that you've tackled?
I think I would say it's truly understanding your finances and your numbers. like a lot of people who are doing it for the first time, you don't necessarily have a business degree. You know that there's money coming in and money going out, and you have this QuickBooks thing you keep going back every few months and maybe putting your receipts into. But there's the day-to-day of what actually is your money in your account and what's already been accounted for. That if you don't have some sort of system of analyzing, you're going to constantly be guessing, like, am I making it? Am I profitable? Am I this? Am I that? Right? So you had actually recommended Mike Michalowicz and the Profit First system. So reading through that and understanding the idea of the big platter, and then paying yourself and making sure you're putting money into your operational expenses. It allows us to know on a bi-weekly basis exactly where all the money is, and whether there is enough going where it needs to go to make sure that everything is functioning well.
Yeah, and I think probably the biggest challenge besides that for me has been getting our team together. We love to do staff training, but it's so challenging to get everybody in the same room at the same time. And so we've had to do a lot of problem solving around that. So staff meetings tend to be very hands-on. If we're doing any kind of in-service or learning or skill sharing, it's not usually the kind of thing that can be done virtually. So we really like to have people in the room. It's a unique challenge, but it is something that I've got a better plan for.
It sounds like that idea of keeping everybody aligned in the same culture, the same experience, the same expectation of their own training and development is really important to you.
Exactly.
Could you share a little bit more about why that is important?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if people are coming to us because they see how our marketing sort of appeals to them, then they're going to expect that when they come in. So we know that, what we're doing is on brand, but we need to make sure that when our other therapists are in the room with clients, that what they're doing is also, on brand.
There should be a consistent patient experience from start to finish where, if they come in and see another therapist in the office, they're not starting from what seems like a completely different place. Which is one of the reasons why we've niched down so specifically, and why we make sure we do that staff training and group work together, so that we all know we're speaking the same language and approaching things from a similar way, so that our patients will have that same experience.
Is that particularly important in the work that you do with a relatively underserved population?
Yeah, we have people who come in with some very complex or chronic symptoms, or just feeling really out of touch with, what it feels like to be in their own skin. A lot of what we're doing in terms of what we sell, aside from helping people recover, is feeling safe, right? Like having someone that they can express what they're feeling emotionally and know that it's not going to be disregarded, but incorporated into, okay, you're feeling this. What's the physiology of this? How is that physiology affecting the way that you're moving in space? How's the way you're moving in space affecting your symptoms, et cetera, right? So it's allowing someone to experience and express the whole picture.
Yeah, and it gives our clients more options as well, because if they know they're going to get something very similar with another therapist, they don't have to worry about, if that therapist wants to take a vacation, that they're like abandoned basically. But I think that the other piece about safety is knowing that every practitioner that you see, you're going to get that same sort of warm, sort of heart-centered approach. I mean, that's interesting because I've read an article recently about how some businesses who work with clients who've had trauma, they will play the same music every time, and it's like the same 12 songs on a loop. And it's because the clients, like, subconsciously, they know what song's coming next. They know it's always going to be the same. And that automatically, just as they walk in the door, is going to put them a little bit more at ease. The more comfortable our clients can be in their skin, the more likely that their healing journey will take them where they want to go.
So how have you personally had to grow, or what did you have to learn that has helped the company grow and helped the company have the impact that you had?
One of the things that we discovered on analyzing our business and the revenue streams was that somewhere around 50% roughly of the dollars earned from the business come from our other therapists, not just myself, right? I can manage myself just fine. But then what that means is understanding that I need to invest a similar amount of my time that is working on the business to their development, to making sure that they understand how to understand and track their numbers. They know how to effectively follow up with their clients, and that they are able to do the best they can to keep their caseloads full too, so that we all grow together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think our situation is a little bit more unique, I guess, that we're a husband and wife team. My answer to that question would be I've had to learn everything, but one of the biggest things was like that we, obviously we've had to learn how to work together after years of working separately, and it fell into place pretty naturally, but we've learned the way that it works best is when we each stay in our own lanes. So we both have our areas of expertise and we don't sort of step over the line into the other ones, and that makes everything just smooth, really nice.
Can you say a little bit more about that? What are some of the tricks to staying in your own lane, but staying in communication and staying aligned?
It's a lot of communication, but making that super clear, like outlining that, first of all, like these are the things I take care of. These are the things you take care of. This is my expertise. This is yours. Knowing when to pass things off, knowing when to ask for help when something is not in your wheelhouse. Also knowing that like when we are sharing a problem that we're having in our sort of domain, it isn't us always asking for solutions necessarily, unless we specifically say so. Sometimes you just want to vent, and that's important too. But when we're faced with a challenge and we need some input, then we'll just say like, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Can you help me work on a solution?
And then the other part is our staff understands our roles as well, right? So when they have a question about how something is responding to, treatment or whether what we're doing can help someone or those kinds of things, they'll approach me. If they have questions that are a little bit more administrative in nature, they know to approach Nelin.
And that way, neither of us gets too overwhelmed.
Divide and conquer. Do you have like team meetings between the two of you at a set time, or does the communication just kind of flow back and forth?
Yeah, it generally does flow back and forth all day long. I'd love to have a set time, but some things are just too time sensitive.
And then with, young kids at home as well, sometimes there will go days where we weren't able to communicate on it, and it starts to show. We, both a little bit frustrated. We both feel like we're missing something. We don't have all the information, the big picture. So, it becomes a necessity, and we make sure we take that time when that happens too.
Yeah, having not only partners in business, partners in life, and partners in raising children, there's a lot of balls in the air.
Oh yeah. Yes.
If I was talking to somebody who knows you really well, or maybe even talking to one of you about each other, what would they say is your catchphrase?
I actually had somebody say this to me once. I was like the only person they knew that said this and said this a lot. I often say, go for it. Just every time I'm like, go for it. It's not a yes, it's a go for it.
For me, a lot of them are directly from my mentor, John Barnes, or sometimes paraphrasing some of his work, because they, reflect very clearly principles of myofascial release, and done eloquently enough. You don't need new words for it, but the key to healing is feeling would be a good one that comes to mind.
Nice. I love that balance. So go for it. And the key to healing is feeling. How do those things, how do they come across in your business? Are you a go for it business? Do you try things often?
We do. I think that sometimes we overdo it in the sense of like throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. But we're not afraid of a challenge. And I think it helps that we know there's two of us. So there's always somebody to lean on if we feel like we're struggling. But yeah, we've never been afraid of going for something. I think that's kind of how this practice came to be in the first place. So
yeah, it's a great way to learn too, right? Because some of the things that we went for, we got, but didn't turn out exactly as we thought or have the impact that we thought it would. And then we regroup and, we refocus again. And yeah, I'll give you a great example, right? I had the opportunity to participate in a book. I co-authored a chapter in a book called Mindset Mastery. And on its own, the book didn't produce enough sales to pay for the fact that I was in it, but that book became the foundation for what eventually became an online course that we now sell, because the material was so useful and valuable, it can be parsed out and used for social media. It can be used in this example to build it out even further into a full training in how to feel into and connect with your body and recover from chronic pain. It's, you know, it's one example of how even when you go for it, it doesn't exactly work as you planned, you can still find some gems in there and yeah.
So find the opportunities and chase them down. It sounds like you've accomplished a lot so far. I know you're having a huge impact in the lives of a lot of your patients. Can you tell us a little bit about where you'd like to go next?
Yeah, this one's always a tough one for me to really articulate because I'm always say just like this, but bigger.
Yeah, our intention for a while has been to eventually become a well-known destination healing center. You would find us because you're looking for myofascial release treatment, specifically intensive programs, and people would be coming from all over to see us. And we've seen a little bit of that, patients from coming from other countries or other provinces, but we basically want to be doing even more of that while still having the impact that we have been in our community and in the region. And then even more tuned into being able to figure out what's wrong and helping people faster, recover more quickly.
Yeah.
Getting our staff to that same level as well so that they feel so ridiculously confident in their abilities because they're all incredibly talented, but we all have a little bit of you know, imposter syndrome here and there.
Yeah, I'd love for, in that same vein, for people to be able to, you know, if anyone that they know is struggling with something, instead of them having to throw things at the wall and see what sticks, that they have this baseline awareness of us enough to be like, well, maybe you should try this, because there are centers like that in other countries and in the US. And we'd love for people to know that they have that here in Canada as well.
And the other thing too is we want to have more and more family doctors or even doctors in hospital settings understand that myofascial release can be a fantastic answer for the problems that their patients are facing. You know, changing the way that health and healthcare is managed in general.
Yeah. Be ideal to see myofascial release as like a separate line item for insurance companies for coverage. That would be pretty cool.
That would be it.
I know what Nelin would say. Go for it.
Working on it.
If there is somebody watching or listening who can help you get to where you're going or be helped by you in managing their chronic pain, what's the best way to reach you?
If you can reach us on any of our socials, we do check them regularly. It is us. It's not a social media manager. And then of course, via our website, there's a contact form, which goes directly to our inbox. So you can reach us there. Our social handle is at Myofascial Mississauga, and our website is myofascialmississauga.com.
And who is a good fit to work with you?
So in terms of clients, we would be looking at people who have been struggling with a chronic pain condition or a nagging pain that they haven't been able to see relief doing other therapies, or that they just haven't gotten any answers for. A lot of our clients come to us without a diagnosis after seeing specialist after specialist and not getting the answers that they're looking for. That would be our ideal client. And of course, someone who's ready to jump into some like their healing journey.
Yeah, and building on that as well, right? A lot of people don't identify with being in chronic pain, right? So it's, if you have something that still irritates you sometimes when you're trying to sleep, or you know, you notice every time you pick up your kids, or you know, those kinds of things, right? There are things that you absolutely can do something about. We can definitely help you with that. Ultimately, it's, if you're looking for self-connection, self-awareness, you want a place that you can, you know, work on recovery, and that's us.
Well, it has been such a pleasure to witness your growth and your business journey, and see you at Growth Club making your 90-day plans for the quarter ahead. So I wish you the very best in growing your impact and keeping doing what you're doing, only bigger.
Thank you.